All right, welcome everybody. Again, sorry I couldn't be there today, but today's lesson is really easy. We're covering today 30, 60, 90 triangles, which are also another kind of right triangle, similar to the 45, 45, 90. But we've got different angles, so we have different relationships between the sides. All right, so first thing, typically you base these off of the short side. So our short side, we have x, and then your hypotenuse is 2x. So your hypotenuse is 2 times the short side. Okay, and then if you look here, this is your longer side. We have x times the square root of 3. So your long side is equal to the short side times the square root of 3. And then you can kind of think about your short side. You have actually 2 different ways to get to your short side. So if you know the hypotenuse, all you have to do is the hypotenuse divided by 2. Or if you know your long side, you just take the long side and you divide it by that square root of 3. We're just working backwards on those two. And the way that you can tell which one is your short side and which one is your long side is looking at these angles. Your short side is going to be across from the 30-degree angle. So short is across from the 30-degree angle. Your long side would be across from the 60-degree angle. And then your hypotenuse, as always, is across from the 90-degree angle. Okay, so I'll zoom in here a little bit. So your short side is across from the 30-degree angle, your long side is across from the 60-degree angle, and your hypotenuse is across from the 90-degree angle. And then remember your formulas here. Your hypotenuse is 2 times the short side. Your long side is equal to the short side times the square root of 3. And then if you want to find the short side, you just work either of those 2 formulas backwards. So you either divide the hypotenuse by 2 or you divide the long side by the square root of 3. Okay, so we'll go on ahead and we'll do an example here. All right, the first one, we can see this 4 is across from our 30, so this is our short side. So I would put an S for short side. Okay, now for me, the easiest one to do next is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is just 2 times the short side. So 2 times 4 is 8. That's your hypotenuse. Okay, and then your long side is your short side, so 4 times the square root of 3, which is just 4 square root 3. Okay, example 2. This one we have our hypotenuse, so we want to go backwards. Remember your short side, okay, because there's not, there is a relationship between the hypotenuse and the long side, but it's easier to find the short side first. So your short side is equal to the hypotenuse divided by 2. So 10 divided by 2, which is 5. So our short side is 5. And then to go to our long side, all we have to do is take the short side times the square root of 3. So 5 square root 3. And then our third example here, this 7 square root 3, it's opposite across from that 60-degree angle. So this is our long side. You might want to label that with an L. Okay, and we have that square root of 3. So to get our short side, we just take 7 square root of 3, and you divide it by square root of 3. The square root 3 on top and the square root 3 on bottom, those cancel because they're the same on the top and the bottom. So we just have that our short side is 7. And then now, since we know a short side, we can go to the hypotenuse. So your hypotenuse is just 7 times 2, because it's twice the short side. so it's 14. All right, so basically, whenever you have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, you always try to get the short side first. So if you have your hypotenuse, you turn it into the short side. If you have your long leg, you turn it into the short side. If they give you the short side first, well, then you're lucky. Okay, we'll do these couple word problems. A television is measured by its diagonal. So we're trying to find this diagonal because they're asking us what size is this television. And here's our triangle. And we know since this is a rectangle, you know, televisions are rectangles, we know this is our 90-degree angle right there. And there's our 30-degree angle. So across from that 30-degree angle is this 24-inch side. So our short side is 24 inches. Now we're trying to find the diagonal, which is the hypotenuse. So all we have to do is our hypotenuse is the short side times 2. So you just got to do 24 times 2. So the television is 48 inches. Okay, last one here. How far from the base of the building is the car? So here's the base of the building, and we want to know how far away this car is. All right, so we can see here, across from the 30-degree angle is the height of the building. So we're not trying to find the short side, we're trying to find the long side, because up here, from the top of the building to the car, that's the hypotenuse. But we just need to find the long side. So this 18 meters, that's the short side. So our short is 18 meters. And your long side, all you do is take the short side and you multiply it by the square root of 3. So 18 square root 3. So our long side is 18 square root 3 meters. And on problems, they'll specify whether they want it in simplest radical form, so that's what we have, or if they want to the nearest tenth or the nearest foot, or whatever they want. But on this one, since it's not specified, you just go with the radical form. All right, so that's it for those notes. Again, these are just like the 45, 45, 90 notes. You just go and you cut on the dotted lines, and you fold over on this solid line, and then you glue that into your notebook. Okay, but let's go to the assignment for today. What you're having to do, I want you to find both x and y. Okay, x and y. You are finding x and y. Make sure you make note of that. You're responsible for understanding it's both x and y. We're going to do all the problems. There's only 8 of them, y'all. So what we're going to do here, we're going to look at number 3 together. On number 3, they have given us the long side, because here's our 30-degree angle. So x is your short side, which means that 12 has to be the long side. So our long side is 12. Now, we want to find the short side and the hypotenuse. First thing you always find is the short side. So your short side, if you take a look back at your notes, look at that. Your short side is either the hypotenuse divided by 2 or the long side divided by the square root of 3. Well, we don't have the hypotenuse. We have the long side. So you got to do the long side divided by the square root of 3. So we have to do 12 divided by the square root of 3. Okay, remember, the radical in the bottom is a problem. But this time, we're just going to do the same thing, except instead of having square root of 2 like we've been doing, we have square root of 3. So it's no different. So we'll go over here. We got 12 over square root of 3. And we just rationalize. Remember, whatever the square root in the bottom is, you multiply by a fraction with that square root on the top and the bottom. Okay, 12 times the square root of 3 is 12 square roots of 3. And then on the bottom, you have square root of 3 times the square root of 3. So that's 3. All right, and to help us kind of think of this a little bit easier, I'm going to write this like this here. We have 12 over 3, because neither of those are in square roots. And then we have the square root of 3 right there separate. And these are being multiplied, but you don't have to show that like specifically. So now you just do 12 divided by 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. You didn't touch the square root of 3, so square root of 3 stays next to it. So the short side is 4 square roots of 3. So that's x. X is 4 square roots of 3. And then to find y, all you have to do is multiply your x value by 2. And remember, you only are multiplying the number that's outside the square root, not the one that's inside, when you're just multiplying the whole thing by a number. All right, so that's pretty much it. There's number 6 is like number 3 here. And all the other ones are very straightforward. So you guys should be able to finish this very quickly. Get it done. Make sure all your notebooks are updated. Make sure that you, I want y'all to hold all papers until Tuesday. So even if you're trying to turn in the work from Friday, I need you to hold it until Tuesday. It will not be late. Also, don't turn this one in. This one, you hold it until Tuesday when I'm back in class. We don't turn things in when I'm not there. Okay? So good luck. Again, I'm going to put this video on Canvas. So if you need to go back over it again, watch it. It's up there. I'm putting the notes up on Canvas, and I'm putting these hints up on Canvas that I just did, the problem I worked out with you guys. So there's no reason why we should not understand it. Also, if you are still lost, you can go see one of the other teachers for tutorials. The tutorials are posted on my door. They're on the green paper, and it shows who has tutorials on any day, morning or afternoon. So again, make sure you get this done. Hold everything until tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.